Imagine waking up one morning and discovering something extraordinary. Instead of arms as you know them, sleek, powerful fins extend from your sides. Your body is suddenly adapted for the water in ways you never thought possible. This is the fascinating thought experiment we re-diving into today. What if humans had fins like fish? First, let's picture what that would look like. Human bodies would be streamlined, with our limbs shaped more like the graceful pectoral fins of a dolphin or the wide wing-like fins of a manta ray. Our muscles would be built for swimming rather than running, our bones lighter to reduce drag in the water, and our skin perhaps smoother and coated in a thin layer of protective mucus, much like certain fish, to help us glide effortlessly through the ocean. Our land-based life would change forever, but our aquatic life would flourish. One of the first and most obvious changes would be in how we move. On land, walking or running would become slower and more awkward. Without hands and with fins instead, simple tasks like cooking, writing, or building tools would be challenging. But in the water, we would be unmatched. With a single sweep of our fins, we could surge forward, turning and twisting with the agility of a shark. Our endurance in the ocean could rival some of the fastest marine animals, allowing us to travel great distances without tiring quickly. Our lifestyle as a species would transform. Human cities might be built along coastlines or entirely underwater, supported by domes or carved into coral reefs. Underwater farming could become the norm, cultivating seaweed, shellfish, and other marine life as primary food sources. Fishing might no longer be an external practice. Instead, our communities could herd schools of fish much like we herd cattle today. Trade routes could run beneath the surface, with humans using deep-sea currents instead of roads. But having fins would also change our social structure and culture. Swimming could be a central skill taught from birth, not just as recreation, but as survival. Sporting events might include underwater races, acrobatic flips, or synchronized swimming displays. Fashion might evolve to highlight the unique patterns or colors of our fins, much like how fish use markings for attraction or camouflage. However, we would also face new challenges. Living in the water would expose us to dangers that our current land-based lives largely avoid. Predators like sharks or environmental threats such as storms and strong currents. Our bodies would need to adapt further, perhaps developing a better ability to hold our breath for long periods, or even evolving gills to extract oxygen from water. Without such adaptations, fins alone would still require us to surface regularly for air. Communication could also be an interesting puzzle. On land, we use vocal sounds, but underwater, sound travels differently. We might develop a form of echolocation like dolphins, or rely more heavily on visual signals, fin gestures, body movements, and changes in fin coloration. This could lead to a rich language of movement and light that replaces much of our spoken word. Economy and technology would have to change as well. We would design tools, vehicles, and habitats specifically for underwater living. Imagine submersible cities powered by tidal and wave energy, or personal underwater crafts that extend our range into the deepest parts of the ocean. Land would still be valuable for certain crops, mining, and perhaps for manufacturing, but our primary homes would be submerged, where our fins could be used to their fullest potential. Our relationship with the environment might also be dramatically different. As a species dependent on the ocean for daily life, we would have far greater incentive to protect it. Pollution, overfishing, and climate change would be issues threatening not just distant ecosystems, but our literal neighborhoods. Ocean conservation could become a central part of human politics and culture. Of course, our diet would shift heavily towards seafood and marine plants. We might develop ways to farm large underwater kelp forests, or cultivate coral reefs as food and shelter. Hunting could involve coordinated swimming patterns to trap fish, similar to the way dolphins work together to corral prey. The diversity of edible species in the ocean would open entirely new culinary traditions, with sea vegetables, crustaceans, and fish becoming everyday staples. Finally, our sense of exploration could reach new depths, literally. With fins, we could explore reefs, underwater caves, and sunken landscapes with the ease that we currently explore forests or mountains. The mystery of the deep sea, which today is difficult and expensive to access, could become as familiar to us as a walk in the park. The ocean's vast, uncharted territories might be our playground, our workplace, and our home. In the end, if humans had fins like fish, our species would likely become as much a creature of the sea as of the land, perhaps even more so. We would have to rethink everything from architecture to agriculture, from communication to community. The ocean would no longer be a distant frontier, but the very heart of our civilization. And while life would present new challenges, the possibilities for exploration, adaptation, and cultural evolution would be as vast and deep as the waters themselves.